Jesse Berst. I'm the founder and chief analyst of SmartGridNews, the Internet's oldest and largest smart grid site, and I'll be your moderator today. And we're going to talk about how you can engage your customers with in-home displays. And we've assembled an all-star panel of experts to help us with that. I'll introduce each one in a little more detail, but real quickly, we're joined from Reliant Energy by Mark Eddings, Director of Marketing and Residential Retention, and Mark Smith, the Principal for Smart Energy. And from Tendril joining us today, Matt Smith, Director of Firmware Engineering, and Mike Ruth, Senior Director of Marketing. So let me put this in a little bit of context, and because many utilities they're coming to realize that when it comes to engaging with your customers, there's a continuum of choices. There's a spectrum of possibilities, and you can take your customers on a journey and at each stage increase their engagement and their empowerment. So you might start with paper reports or email reports. You might take it up a notch with a web portal that has additional interactivity, and then take it up to another level yet with in-home displays. We have been chronicling this entire customer journey. As you can see here on the slide, we've done previous webinars about paper and email reports with Duke, about web portals with Kansas City, and now with Reliant to talk about the in-home displays. When we send you the links to download the slides for this webinar, we'll also make those links to previous webinars available to you as well. So you'll be well armed to make your decisions. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about Reliant and the unique characteristics of the Texas market. And we're going to talk some about the in-home displays and kind of define and describe that. Also some of the challenges that came out. As you'll see, Reliant went to exceptional effort to make things easy for their customers, and it paid off, and they'll tell you a little bit more about that. We're going to finish up by talking about how you achieve customer satisfaction, not what you guess they want or think they should want, but what they really appreciate based on this real-world work at Reliant. And then finally, the importance of giving customers a choice and how you build that choice in. So we're going to do things a little differently than our typical webinar today. We're going to have a lot of back and forth between our panelists. So I'm going to introduce all four of them right now, and then we'll get into the meat of the presentation. So first up is Matt Smith. He's the Director of Firmware Engineering at Tendril, where he oversees the development of their Zigbee home area network stuff. He's been a Zigbee pioneer. He's got over 15 years experience and a degree in computer science. Welcome, Matt. Also joining us, Mike Ruth from Tendril. He's the Senior Director of Marketing. Got a lot of consumer marketing experience, as well as spending time at semiconductor equipment manufacturers and an embedded software company. He's got a master in computer engineering. And then Mark Smith is with us as well from Reliant Energy. He's the Principal for Smart Energy. He's a business architect for their residential smart energy solution. He's got over 20 years of experience, including 10 years at Compaq Computer and a master's degree in systems engineering. And finally, Mark Eddings of Reliant Energy. He's the Director of Marketing for Residential Retention. He leads the Smart Energy marketing team. It's his responsibility to find and retain residential customers in these programs. He's got an MBA from the Jones School at Rice University. And to all four of you today, thanks for taking the time to share what you've learned with your utility colleagues. So Mark Eddings, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jesse. This is Mark Eddings. I am, as Jesse mentioned, with Reliant Energy, based here out of Houston, Texas. Getting things started, I wanted to orient the group with regards to who Reliant Energy is and where we fit into the mix within the electricity market here in Texas. So starting things off, Reliant Energy is part of NRG Energy, which most of you probably are already aware of NRG's family of companies, probably most well known for being one of the largest generators of electricity and power in the United States. A few years ago, in addition to the wholesale power generation business, NRG got into the retail electricity business, and that's when myself and my colleagues at Reliant Energy came into the family. Reliant is one of the largest electricity providers in the state of Texas, which I'm sure most on the call are aware that in the state of Texas we have a deregulated energy industry, which creates quite a bit of competition between ourselves and our 50-plus competitors here in the state. As of today, with Reliant and some of our sister brands within NRG, we have approximately 2 million customers currently receiving their electricity service from us at any given time. NRG is able to produce 25,000 megawatts of power at any generating time. In addition to that 25,000 megawatts represents approximately 20 million homes that we can generate power for at any given time. We are on the cusp of adding a large production capacity to the family with the proposed merger with GenOn, which previously was largely represented by folks with Reliant Energy, also based out of Houston, Texas. And once that merger completes, we'll go from 25,000 megawatts up to 47,000 megawatts. So there's a little snapshot into energy. I want to dig real quickly into what deregulation looks like here in Texas so that we can better orient as to where Reliant falls into the mix. So with a deregulated market, power generation is handled on the one end by companies such as NRG. Retail electricity providers like Reliant Energy purchase the power on behalf of their customers and sell directly to the end customers. In this case, what I'll be discussing today, although we do have commercial and industrial customers, small business customers, and residential customers, our focus today will be just on the residential market. So the power is actually delivered through our transmission and distribution service provider network. In Houston, that example would be CenterPoint Energy. And then lastly, the power goes from the TDSP down to the inline customer. And in Texas, the relationship with the inline customer is held between the retail electricity provider, in this case Reliant, and the direct in-home user. So here, we at Reliant spend a lot of time trying to figure out how are we going to differentiate ourselves between guys down the street, much less the other 50 electricity providers that a residential customer can choose here in the state of Texas. So approximately 4 years ago, when ERCOT announced that they were going to start distributing smart meters throughout all of the competitive Texas area, Reliant put a stake in the ground and decided that we wanted to make smart energy and all of the services and products that can be tied to it a big differentiator for us. And we've spent the better part of the last 3+ years bringing that to fruition. So as of today, Reliant has approximately 1.3 million customers. Over half of those customers are using at least one product, which we've created a sub-brand known as our eSense line of products. At least 1 out of every 2 customers is using one eSense product to help them better manage and control their energy usage and cost. Here in our market, more than 90% of customers do in fact have a deployed and provisioned smart meter working at their home. Before the end of the year, we expect that number to be approximately 98%. So we long ago passed the tipping point, and now it's pretty much de facto that every one of our customers or prospects that we're dealing with does in fact have a smart meter and can take advantage of the products that we've developed. I want to spend 1 minute and help orient folks as to what Reliant currently does have in market and how we treat our ecosystem of products and where the home energy monitor falls within that spectrum. So we have a general philosophy of insights, choice, and convenience. That being that we want to use the information unlocked by the smart meter and the 15-minute interval data to help our customers get better insight into their usage, what they're doing at their home, how their activities are generating not just usage, but ultimately the cost that they'll see in their bills every month, so that they can use that insight to make better choices, whether that may mean they decide to select a time of use rate plan that perhaps can reward them for usage patterns that they're already exhibiting if the majority of their power is happening at off-peak time periods, or if they want to use those insights to determine that they need to select a different electricity plan, perhaps moving from a variable rate plan to a fixed rate plan, and then ultimately taking that choice and moving it over to convenience. And the convenience being essentially how do we make it easy for customers to process all of this data. A metric that we often use internally is a stat that tells us that the average American residential customer spends approximately 8 minutes a year thinking about electricity and their electricity choice. Realizing that that's a very small window, we're asking customers to invest a little bit more, but not a lot more time so that they can really maximize the benefit that our smart energy solutions can bring them. So within that spectrum, I'm going to go real quickly through some of the items on the wheel. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a weekly email. For us, that's a weekly notice that we send to our customers that tells them what they have used electricity-wise in the past week, how much that costs them, how that compares to the week prior, and at their current pace, what that means for their ultimate monthly bill. As a competitive provider, we love this product because it helps our customers to avoid the end-of-month bill shock. So, a common example in the state of Texas, August is usually one of our highest bill months because of the extreme temperatures. So anytime when an August bill would hit our customer's mailbox that was for a higher amount than that customer was expecting, we as a competitive retail provider had a lot of nervousness that would instigate a switching action by the customer because they felt that they didn't have any control over the situation, and this was naturally an unwelcome surprise. The weekly summary email has been very beneficial both to us as a business and to our customers to help avoid that surprise. So let's say that for you, your personal pain point of a monthly bill is $250. You can see within 7 days into a 30-day billing cycle if you're on a pace to spend more than $250 and easily dig into the whys and what could I do to change my current course to avoid that ultimate bill from exceeding your budget limits. So that's kind of our starter product that a large number of our customers use. And going around the wheel takes you to the web portal or the online account management where you can dig in as much as you would like to, down to the monthly, weekly, daily, and even within the hourly data to say how I'm using power at my home. From the web portal, you can sign yourself up for mobile alerts. I gave the example earlier of a customer whose pain point might be $250 a month, that if they're spending more than that, that's going to be a budget buster. You can pre-select that 250 is your number, and if at any time during your billing cycle, even if it's the fourth day out of 30, that your current course says you're going to come in above 250, we'll send an alert to either your email or your phone letting you know of that and giving you, again, plenty of time to do a course correction if that's what you would like to do. One challenge that we have with all of this information is that the way that the Texas market is structured, every bit of that 15-minute interval data comes into Reliant and ultimately to our customers about 48 hours after the real-time usage. So as we sit here today, and Houston time, it's 12:46 on a Wednesday, the best that I can show a customer through either weekly summary email or their own dedicated web portal is information that's going to be from Monday. That's best case scenario. And naturally, if you're trying to give customers real-time usage and costs so that they can see, hey, I just turned my AC up by 3 degrees. What's that doing for me or not doing for me? That isn't really captured very well with data that's 2 days old. So that's where the home energy monitor came in for us. We wanted to put something in customers' homes that would allow them to get immediate feedback on the actions that they were taking in their home. So we partnered with Tendril, made that decision about 3 years ago, and have spent the better part of the last 2 years developing that program and just getting them into customers' homes. As of today, we have dispersed a little bit more than 10,000 home energy monitors throughout the Texas market, primarily in the Dallas area and in the Houston area. And we'll certainly spend some time during this presentation sharing some of those results and what the customer feedback has been. But for us, the big key for the home energy monitors as far as how they fit into our overall product mix was so that we could fill that big gap that customers had who were loving weekly summary email and portal, but ultimately they just didn't have a way to say, if I want to know what's happening in my house right this second, how can you help me? And that's where the home energy monitor came in.